Hello, thanks for joining me today. My name is Mike. This is the home of Guns and Horsepower. And today I'm going to apply and review the Dr. Color Chip Paint Chip Repair System. Now the difference with this system is it has a specially formulated paint that when you order the system you need to supply your car's color code so they can color match the paint. And the paint is formulated to work with their Seal-Act blending solution. So whatever paint that doesn't go into the chip, you can buff away off of the car. So this system works. There's 3 steps here. You go ahead and dab the paint next to the chip, smear it through the chip, and then buff it out with the Seal-Act solution. So let's go ahead and see what's inside the kit here. So it comes with a microfiber, a special cloth and glove for the smearing and for the applying of the Seal-Act. And here's the bulk of the kit here. You have the Seal-Act solution and then your paint and some micro brushes. I went ahead and opted for an upgraded kit that comes with, you can see it right there, that little bar, silicone squeegee. Should make it a little easier to apply. Go ahead and get this open here. There we go. And we'll get you focused in on the chip I have here on my car. Had it on there since I got the car. Let's see, there it is. I can't zoom in too close or the camera doesn't know what to focus on, so that seems to be it right there. Okay, so we got the paint here. Go ahead and shake this up a little bit. Step 1. So we're supposed to dab it next to the chip. Now this has a little dropper cap. I don't know if I can get it open here. You can see here it's got a little hole, but if you blob that, it's way too much paint for this size chip. So I'm going to go ahead and blob it on a notepad I have over here on the bench. 2 drops. And I have a brush I've been working with a little bit, so I'm just going to use that one instead of dirtying up their little micro brushes. Okay, so I got my brush heavily dabbed. I'm going to dab next to it. I'm going to get a pretty good dab. See the problem? See, there you go. Okay. So that's a good one. Now we're supposed to smear it. Now I'll tell you right now, I tested this out a little bit before I made this video, and the rubber glove was pretty difficult. It seemed to keep smearing the paint right out of the chip. So I'm glad I opted for this squeegee. It definitely makes things a lot easier, especially if you have a whole bunch of chips. You can just put this down and go over all at once instead of smearing each one by hand. Now the one problem I've had with this kit since when I tested it was the paint itself is way too runny. As you can see, I just put a little dab and it's starting to already run that way. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with smearing it here. Okay, just gonna wipe off what's on my squeegee. It just wipes off easily if you take the squeegee and smear it on paper. Excess comes right off. So let's try going this way. The paint seemed to run right back in. Okay. And I want to try to get off all the excess that I can before we get to the blending stage. There we go. So I don't know if you can tell on camera if the chip looks any different, but it barely does, to be honest with you. You can still see the metal shine, the metal reflection coming back. And that's the problem I've been having with this kit when I tested it out before making the video. The paint is way too runny and it does not stick to anything except the car's clear coat. I mean, you can still see it. The chip is not filled in. You can still see the metal underneath. I'm going to go ahead and apply a second time here. You're supposed to wait 3 minutes for it to cure up before you use the Seal-Act blending solution, but I feel like I'm wasting my time. I don't feel like there's anything done. So here's the method I've kind of come up with. They say you're supposed to dab right next to it. Well, since I'm having trouble with the paint sticking to the chip, I've been doing this method of just heavily blotting the entire spot, letting the paint sit for 30 seconds or so, and then go ahead and wiping it clean. But still, I haven't been able to fill a chip yet. And I've done this on the other side of my car. I have 3 chips, one of them equal to this size, one a little smaller, and then one that has a little slide to it, a little run. And I applied the kit 7-8 times, and it didn't get any better with each application. It just seemed like I was wiping the paint from the previous application away. So I went ahead and waited overnight, did the same thing, applied it to the instructions, went ahead and went to smear it, and the chip, all the paint came out of the chip from yesterday, and the paint that I was applying today as well. So I had to go ahead and do this method and be real meticulous with keeping the paint in the chip. So now what I'm going to do, I let it sit for a little bit, is I'm going to slide it, but I'm not going to keep constant contact with the car. I'm just going to focus on getting excess. So I'm just going to remove a little excess at a time. It's the only thing that seems to work with this. The whole idea is you're not supposed to have a blob, as if you were to use just regular touch-up paint that you dab on there and it leaves a raised lump. But at least that fills the hole. This is not really filling the hole. So that last swipe right there, I don't know if you can tell, yeah, it does look a little different in the camera. What I did was I drew this forward, got the excess right on top, and then I stopped, and then it kind of bled back in. And I'm going to leave it like that, because that's for the first time I don't see the metal underneath. Okay, there's some excess paint. Alright, now we're supposed to let it sit. And then we go ahead and buff it with the... So the Seal-Act blending solution here is designed to take off the paint that's, around the chip. And it's not supposed to remove what's in the chip. And to do that, you're supposed to just lightly apply pressure, it says, with the palm of your hand, so your fingers don't press in. Now, from what I've learned from using this, the paint that is on the clear coat from the Dr. Color Chip kit is hard to get off. It takes some forceful scrubbing. So since this is off to the side, I'm going to start scrubbing it already to make it a little easier on myself, because I know it's not easy to get off. So I'm not touching the chip at all at this point. I'm just focusing on the excess before it dries too much. Because what I found is lightly scrubbing does not help remove what's on the clear coat. It takes some force unless you want to still be able to see it. Now this is a cloth that I have that's already soaked with the Seal-Act solution that came with my kit as well, instead of dirtying the other one. I was just using this one before it dried out because it's already pre-soaked. Okay, I'm getting really close to the chip now. So yeah, you can tell on the camera now that it is filled in a bit. It doesn't have that metal shine that it had before I applied this. But you can see when I swiped it the first time following the directions, it did not take at all. Actually, this is the best I've gotten out of this system yet. And that was by heavily blotting it with a brush, letting the paint cure up a little bit. So I think we're probably at the 3-minute mark now. Looks like we're close, so I can go over the whole thing now. Okay, let me do it with my palm lightly. Not applying too much pressure, just enough to get the rag sliding. Let's see. I think we got all the excess paint. What is that? That paint or part of the chip? No, there's still paint around the chip. See, like I said, if you let it dry like what's needed to keep it in the chip, it's really hard to get it off of what's on the clear coat. Okay, so try one more time to lightly go over it. Okay, and now we buff it out. Alright, it does look better. I wish I could zoom in a little bit more, but for some reason the camera loses the object that it's trying to focus on. This is about the limit. Okay, so you can tell that it looks different than when I started. It had a metal reflection because the chip was down through to the metal, and now it's definitely less of a chip, less noticeable. As for the color match, I don't know, this looks to be more of a bright silver. You can definitely see where the chip is. Trying to get up on top of it, camera completely loses it, so I can't really give you a better view than that. But so it does work, sort of, in my opinion. Following the directions as it says doesn't seem to that doesn't work. Following the directions as stated on the box for the Dr. Color chip definitely doesn't get the job done. The chip, no, the paint, the trouble I'm having with it is the paint's not sticking in the chip. So like I said, I came up with my modified method where I blob the chip heavily, directly, get some paint all around it, in it, and high up. Let it cure for about a minute, and then go over it with that squeegee. Like I said, the glove you don't have much control. The squeegee you have total control, and you can see through it. So that makes a big difference in being able to smear properly. And like I said, I just smeared it, drug it right to the top, and then kind of lifted up. So the paint kind of ran down and filled the hole. And that seemed to work best. The other times I've tried this, I follow the directions and I just keep removing the paint every time. Nothing stuck in the hole. So this time was actually the very first out of probably 10 times that I actually got it to seal the chip pretty good. I mean, we're losing it on the camera. You can't even really see it anymore. So that's pretty decent. How much better is it than getting stuff from the dealer for 25 bucks? Not much, in my opinion. This kit here was $65, and then there's shipping on top of that. So it's up to you. If you have a lot of small chips in the front with that squeegee, I think it would be very effective. But for a few chips like I have around here that are a little deeper, I just can't get the paint to stick. So I think going with dealer touch-up and applying it very delicately, I think would be probably your best bet, and save yourself about 50 bucks. Alright, well, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it informative. I was a little surprised. I was expecting a little more from the kit, but I guess my final analysis is it kind of works. Alright, well, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. During these difficult times, it's hard to make some videos. It's hard to get out, so hang with me there, all my subscribers. I do have some videos planned, but I need to get out and do that, so hopefully I'll be able to do that soon. Thanks again for watching.